Education is such a major part of Heart, and when we started it, and the scripture that I believe that God gave us for it is, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." We're known as Heart, but the part that we were really focusing on was that first part of it, health education. As time went on, we then realized that we are really a resource team. And this became very clear to me when we were doing home-based care. We were traveling into the different slums, and we were actually visiting people that had AIDS.
One of the things that has resulted from this huge epidemic in Southern Africa is the creation of orphans. I don't think our country has ever in its history, even in the 19th century when parents died young and left many orphans, has ever had to deal with anything close to this number of orphans. There are hundreds of thousands of orphans in a country with a population similar to that of California.
But as we were in the villages, then they would say to me, "Well, Mama, what's the next step? You know, are you coming back? What about the orphans? What about the widows that we're trying to take care of? Do you have any help for us? Is there anything we can do?" And that's where we got the vision about WEEP.
The women in the WEEP program are women who were near death. Most of them were what we would call emaciated. With treatment, they are now fully healthy, well-nourished, and taking care of their children.
If we could keep Mother alive, focus on her so that she could take care of her children, we could do an orphan prevention program.
As a program, we came in to step in to assist women who are HIV in the community. And when we believe that when we support the woman, the child will live. And in the process of the mother suffering, the child suffers.
I was stigmatized by my family members. They even end up buying a coffin for me. But I thank God for His mercy, giving me mercy. And when I came, even my friends couldn't know me, that they called me a ghost.
We were teaching on bed nets and that everyone should have a bed net. So I got the idea, what if these women could make the nets?
Nashukuru imetusaidia kwa sababu mwanzo nilikuwa sina kazi.
We are happy that we've been given a privilege to make these nets, because apart from giving us an income, the nets also go into preventing malaria and reducing the death rate of children and pregnant women and people all over the nation, because Heart distributes nets to children and even to pregnant mothers and all over our country.
These women can now train other women to survive, to prosper, and to take care of their children.
But these women have come from so far. Most of them are taking care of 2 children and more. Some are taking care of their foster children because their sisters passed away, their brothers passed away, and the children were left without anyone. So most of them are mothers and guardians to over 5, 6 children in the same home. Yet these children, through WEEP, they're now going to school. They now have uniforms, they have food, they have rent, they are secure, they have benefited, their children benefited. The children who are stigmatized in the society, in school, they are now going back to school. Their performance is far much better from where they started. And therefore, we are hoping that this project will go on and we'll be able to support more and more women, because our motto, one thing we believe, is the woman is stable, the children will live, because the women will take care of the society. Yeah.
Kids for School is a program for upcountry for grandmothers that are raising their grandchildren. Parents have both died from AIDS.
How the project runs is that the children are supposed to, they get one female goat, and after 1 year, they're supposed to give one goat to the next kid in the program. So once we enlist, let's say 50 kids in the program in a certain area, we tell them, okay, you see, you have benefited from this program by getting a uniform and a goat. If you don't have a school uniform, you're not allowed to be in school.
And now Heart is assisting them with the school uniforms. They are giving them a goat, shoes, so the kids are able to go to school.
We let the child know that he can also actually have something. That when he is at home, he says, this goat is mine. The other people would you mean that he also has a God? Because initially they were thinking that they are completely a destroyed generation. And then telling the child, look, this goat has to be taken care of. So the next calf that comes in, you give it to another child of a similar need.
If you give us a goat back to the program, which heart will not take, but it will be going to the kid who is also in need as you, we'll give you another uniform.
The grandmothers were coming to me saying, Mama, my kids are not in your program, please. My children are not in school. They're hungry, they need help. Help my children too. And it really hurt because we now had 50 that had now produced into 100, but there were 836 in that village that had been identified, and we were able to help 100. So we found that many of the children were also anemic and they were underweight. So we began what we call a food security project, where we rent 1/4 of an acre, we plow it, provide the seed and the fertilizer. Grandma does the work. She harvests her products, usually corn and beans, and then she's able to feed her family.
This is a special village for me because now the boy goes to school because he has the school uniform. And in addition, with HEART plus USAID, they have funded them. You know, the house they were living in is not really a good house, but now they're going to have a better house for them. Usually on the rain season, the rains were dripping into the house, but now, as this house is going to be completed, they're going to enjoy a very good facility.
In the program right now, we have 6,300 children. They're being supported through the Kids for School project. It fits the Kenya standard of what we're trying to do for orphans, keep them in their tribal home, in their village, being cared for by relatives versus orphanages. And they just need a little help. They just need a little support, help them get back into school. And with the food security program and the goat for income generating, you can help that whole family survive the HIV/AIDS pandemic.
And we came in to partner with the community to make a change in your life. And if you're willing, you'll go places. The stars is the limit.
All these children then are being supported through our wheat projects because they make the uniforms. As we went into the schools, we began working with the children. Over 4th grade, you begin to see a big decrease in the number of girls in each classroom. And by 7th and 8th grade, in this one village where we went back to so many times, we began to notice, wow, there's only like 2 girls in each of those upper grades. And what has happened to the girl child? And assuming that what the problem was is that they were marrying young. But we found out later that a lot of it had to do just with the fact they didn't have a way to take care of their monthly cycle. And when we were talking to the girls, they'll tell you that they were using leaves, they were using cloth, or cow dung. So they were missing like 5 days a month. And if you miss a whole week in a month, pretty soon they were so far behind the boys, their grades were not good, and they would get discouraged and they'd drop out. We're able to put together now a packet for 300 shillings or $5 that has the 12 packets of sanitary towels, 4 pair of underwear, and it's a supply for the girls for a whole year. Everything Kenya's developed around relationships. And so for me to start off kind of on my own and be doing my own thing, I realized wasn't the right thing. I needed to just, let's join with whatever already is happening here. And so the committee that's already been put together is a Lion Rotary committee. The 2 clubs have come together, which is real unusual, and they're working together on this one particular project, sanitary towels.
It is a serious problem out there, and I can tell you that people do not understand this. There was a friend I was talking to on the phone, and I said, I'm coming back to Nairobi to distribute sanitary towels. He started laughing. He said, what are you people up to? What kind of project is that? Because people don't understand what girls go through up country.
How have the sanitary towels helped us in any way since we started this program? Yes? Yes, sign up?
When we don't have sanitary towels, we cannot come to school. We sit at home until monthly period is finished.
Through them and through my partners at AED, we began distributing these underwear and the sanitary towels to girls in schools all over Kenya. And we were looking for those that were the most needy, mostly those up country, and those that it would really jeopardize their education if they didn't get this assistance. The girls, we find that they are not only staying in school longer, their grades are better. So we began this whole education piece of how to help the girl child. And then that would lead into questions like, what do you want to be? What are your dreams? What do you want to be when you grow up? And when we would talk about that, we'd say, okay, what could hinder you from accomplishing those dreams? And they always came up with themselves: STDs, HIV, early pregnancy. So when we went back and visited a Maasai village where we had given out the sanitary towels and we'd done the education and everything, they had written a poem about themselves and about the empowerment that they were feeling of going on to school and the things that they could do now.
I wish I can make it. My dreams to become true. Or becoming a doctor. Yes, a doctor. A doctor out of a Maasai girl. With this, the Lord will change. Help, help. Lift me up where all tribes are. Come and join us. Let's make the best out of humanity.
It was such a joy because you realize, okay, they got it. You know, they've really got it. And not only do they have it, they can stand boldly and profess it, you know, that we want to go to school, that we are valuable as girls. Not just boys are valuable in our culture, but we are also valuable, and telling their parents that.
It is not a one-year project. It's not a 10-year project. It seems like it's a very long project, and we need all the support possible to keep it going.
Our goal was to saturate rural Kenya with the prevention message of HIV, AIDS, TB, malaria, and typhoid. That was our goal. We found that we had different spokes coming off. We got the Kids for School, we have the Girl Child, we have the Wheat Project, we've done water projects, and yet it's the Heart teams that are keeping it rolling because they're coming and bringing their resources and helping it going. Then we've had Seroptimus teams coming, and the Rotary and the various different kinds of groups that are coming. Medical teams, and they're not always associated with a church.
This is now my 9th or 10th trip. I've lost track. And I actually retired partially to continue this work because it's so rewarding and because there's such a huge need here for HIV expertise.
And whether it's you have skills in computers, you're a mechanic, you're a carpenter, whatever it is, we need it.
I wanted to come to Kenya, but for 4 or 5 years I couldn't do it. But I can pray. And so I prayed for Heart. I prayed for the ministry here, for the people, as well as to give financially. And some, you know, I never had a lot of money, and still don't. But you can, what little you have really goes a long way here.
And we started having annual Heart dinners. And at one of those Heart dinners, I had a Kenyan physician that was working at UC Davis come up to me afterwards, and she said, "Vicki, you've done so well at showing the needs in Kenya and how you're addressing them. But what you haven't done is showed the beauty of Kenya." And she said, "Don't you take them on safari? Don't you let them see all the beautiful things about Kenya?" And we decided to incorporate into the team experience a 3-day, 2-night safari every time a team comes. I've had so many people say that I've done more in 2 weeks to help a larger number of people than I've done all year long. So they take their vacation time, all their money, you know, to come and do this. And it's been totally amazing.
What I love about Heart is that the way Heart empowers the Kenyan people to help themselves for sustainability, that if Heart ceases to exist, the Kenyan people don't. They can continue on with what they've been taught.